Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And yes, Superman must deliver this time. There's no question about that. Bat Super, good evening, Mick. Good evening, Bat Super. Good to have you on the live show. Isaac Cruz Pineda, Superman must deliver, Mick. He must, because the ghost of Superman the movie has been there for decades. Superman the movie, a pop culture icon about a pop culture icon. And no matter what people say, that's the movie that did deliver. And we've had some other movies and television shows since. So they've tried their best. Their hearts have been in the right place, but they just haven't been what was needed. In fact, I would dare to say that Smallville is the only live action version of Superman that's even ever got close to Superman the movie. And we've had Superman Returns, whose intentions were honorable, didn't make the money. I was watching that film today and I quite liked that film. It's not perfect, but it tries to be a Superman movie. You've had Man of Steel, you've had Batman versus Superman, you've had the Snyder Cut. All these films have featured Superman, but they just, there's a misunderstanding in what you need from a Superman movie. First of all, you need someone to write and direct the Superman movie who understands what this character means, what he needs to be. And the only one who seems to understand what Superman needs to be right now is Henry Cavill. Hi, Mick. Great live last night. Thank you, John. Good evening to you. Ronnie Dodge. Mick Henry leading or leaving Witcher must mean Superman is his main focus now. Yes, it does mean that. It also means that the rumors that there was a producer on there who didn't even understand the books or the games frustrated Cavill. One thing with Cavill, he's a challenge to work with, because if you disrespect the source material, you're going to fall out with him. This is a geek, this is a nerd who gets it and wants these characters respected. The legend CJ, how much creative control do you think Henry has as Superman? Well, it's a very strange situation, but where are we? The legend CJ, yeah. It's a very interesting situation. He has full creative control on this, and it's not in Hollywood's makeup to give actors full control on movies. Actors are the grunts, are the factory workers that should just do their job and fuck off. They don't like taking suggestions from actors, but they need him. They need him desperately. They know his popularity and they want to continue with him, so they're going to have to respect what he wants. So basically, he's controlling this project more than anyone. Bat Super, Henry Cavill plus Sam Raimi. I'd love that. That would be amazing. Isaac Cruz Pineda, hey Mick, have you purchased the new Riddler Year One comic created by the actor of the Riddler in the Batman? No, I haven't, but I've heard about it. Ronnie Dodge, there's rumors of David Yates directing a Superman movie. Yes, that's an interesting rumor. A few years ago, he was going to actually direct the Doctor Who movie until Stephen Moffat put a stop to that. Scott Edwards, what's up? Hype level for the Ashoka series from 1 to 10? About 7. Anyway, yes. So Superman must deliver. This Superman film not only must be the best Superman film ever made, it's got to be the best comic book movie ever made, because we know the pressure of a Superman movie. He was the first superhero. He was the first comic book superhero. He was in the first superhero movie blockbuster. So the pressure is there. John, when do you think we will find out who is directing the next Superman movie? Very, very soon. Title, a writer and director will be attached very, very soon. Ronnie Dodge, James and Peter take over on Tuesday. They do. Of course, we're fully aware that James is working hard on Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but he can Zoom call, he can make decisions. So Peter Safran is the man for the time being. And I'm sure there's going to be decisions coming from him. So November the 1st, very exciting day, I'm sure. Twitter and the media will be all over it. And yes, we'll see. I'm sure there's been decisions made from the summer when they were in talks with Zaslav, Adby and DeLuca. So I'm sure there are some news and some decisions that we're going to hear about very, very soon. They haven't just got the job. They've been around since the summer. This thing has been a thing. This is why I told you that Dan Lin was never going to get the job, that he was just an applicant. So, oh, wow. Someone's, that's interesting. Someone's doing a video about Superman Returns, a retrospective. I'd like to see that. But your notification's in my way. Right. John, I hope they keep the John Williams theme. I think that's probably the intention. Ronnie Dodge and Martinez, what a centre-back we have. Yes, a great buy. All of Eric's buys have been fantastic. He needs more because he's stuck with the other players who really don't understand the way he wants to play. So slowly but surely, we're going to have to bring in a squad, players that he wants to play for him. But it's going to take time. So the pressure will be on Henry Cavill and that production to deliver the greatest superhero movie ever. This is Superman. Superman must deliver. This isn't Black Adam. This isn't Iron Man. This is Superman, the first superhero. So there's a lot of pressure in that. Bad Super, I wonder who the villain will be. Well, that's an interesting thing. And I've asked the question the past couple of days, who will play Lex Luthor? Because whether Lex Luthor's the main villain, most probably he won't be. You have to have Lex Luthor involved at some kind of level in a Superman movie. So who's going to play him? My pick has always been Vincent D'Onofrio, who plays Kingpin in Daredevil, or Michael Rosenbaum. They're my top picks. And just to let you know, there is a very close friendship between Michael Rosenbaum and James Gunn. I don't know if you lot know that. So that could be something that could be arranged very, very easily. And it would be a very exciting thing to see Michael Rosenbaum return as Lex Luthor. Because he's one of the best. John, will they keep the rest of the cast for the next Superman movie? It depends what Superman this is. If this is a Flashpoint Superman, a rebooted Superman, we really don't know what's going on. Now, considering he was in Black Adam, and Black Adam's part of the DC Extended Universe, you would expect him just to be the Superman we've known for these years. But who knows? The way he spoke was interesting. Talking about the world not being so afraid for such a long time, it's like he has a lot of history, that he's been around maybe longer than the original OG Cavill Superman, maybe. Bad Super, I would like to see... Sorry, I've got a notification again. Go away. It's only Mike Zero. Bad Super, I would like to see Lex's presence in the movie, but have another villain. I think that's what they will go for. But Lex will be around for sure. He has to be. You need Lex Luthor in a Superman movie. He doesn't have to be the main villain, of course. I know most Superman fans don't like him being the main villain. But yeah, we need Lex Luthor. And there's a few options for them there. I don't think Jesse Eisenberg will be returning. I would be absolutely shocked to my core if he was. I wouldn't be against that personally. He said he doubts he'll be asked to come back. But he's very interested in coming back if the offer is made to him. Jesse has always been very, very positive, especially about the fan criticism. He's always said he's willing to change his performance for the fans. Not many people in this industry are that positive towards fan criticism. So that says something about Jesse. He's a great lad. And I actually like his performance in BVS. I think I wouldn't have cast him personally, but I think he does display the hatred and jealousy that Lex has for Superman in the comics. So, yeah, Lex Luthor has to be involved. Lois Lane, Perry White. I would like a Jimmy Olsen. I mean, literally, Jenny is a replacement for Jimmy Olsen. Now, originally, she was supposed to be Jenny Olsen, but they didn't go there with her. I don't know in the Man of Steel credits if they've got her down as Jenny Olsen or Jenny something else or just Jenny. That will be interesting to have a look at next time I watch MOS and BVS. Excuse me. So yes, it's exciting times. It really is. And DC is in this. And maybe we should talk about the Black Adam drop-off, which was considerable as well. And it says a lot about Hamada. Hunter Iggy, Movies TV Mad. Have you heard that Olivia Wilde is in talks to direct a DC movie? No. That's never going to happen. That cannot happen. And who told you this, Hunter Iggy, just for a laugh? Rolo, they killed Jimmy Olsen in BVS. They did, but this could be a new timeline, my friend. And don't forget, his name may not actually be Jimmy Olsen. That could have actually been his code name. So that may not actually be Jimmy Olsen after all. And Zach used him as an Easter egg more than anything. Zach doesn't rate Jimmy Olsen, just proves what some people say about Zach and Superman. If you don't rate Jimmy Olsen, you don't get Superman. Sorry, you don't. Jimmy Olsen is our way into the story. He's a young kid, just left school, and Superman becomes his best pal. That's a beautiful thing. And if you don't really get that, then just my opinion, of course. John Lex was not the main villain in Superman 2 and 3 and 4. He wasn't. Although in 4, he was more the main villain, because I know Nuclear Man's there, but he creates Nuclear Man, if you like. But yeah, he shared the villain stage, didn't he? And in Superman 3, they used Ross Webster, which basically was a budgeted version to Lex Luthor, because Gene Hackman wouldn't return. In fact, Gene Hackman didn't return for reshoots of Superman 2 because they fired Richard Donner. Quite right too, Gene. So there's a lot of decisions to be made. Lex Luthor, what villain they're going to use, what story they're going to implement, what graphic novel they're going to adapt. Rolo, John Cryer was a good Lex. He was a good Lex, yes. I don't think we've really actually had a bad Lex, if I'm honest. I think the guy on the Superman and Lois and Clark TV show was pretty good as well. I'm disappointed that John Cryer hasn't been used in Superman and Lois. That's a big misstep. He's important to Superman. We really haven't seen him and Tyler on screen together, because they kind of made him Supergirl's villain. Well, I hate to disappoint the progressive CW. He ain't a villain. He ain't no nemesis. So what a clusterfuck that show was. But that's Greg Berlanti for you, isn't it? But I know, let's allow him to develop a Jon Stewart show. Yeah, that'd be good. Please smash the like button. There's 10 of you in the chat. It'll be very, very much appreciated. Rolo, hopefully he'll be on Superman and Lois. Yes, hopefully, but I don't know. I mean, he should have been there from season 1. It was done. Then we all thought the other guy was going to be Lex, but obviously he wasn't. You know, you've got a great Lex Luthor. Why wouldn't you bring him on? John, could Joker 2 make more money than the first one? Maybe. Look, people are going to be excited for that movie. Let's hope it makes as much money. But yeah, that's a movie that's going to have more hype around it than the Batman sequel as well. That first film was amazing. It's got everything in place. Abraham Herrera. Yeah, you're right. Henry has to bring his A game for the next movie, or the dogs will come after him. They will. I hope he delivers the greatest superhero movie of all time. It's Superman, and you always have to deliver big with Superman. First superhero blockbuster movie. The history's there. The pressure is on. Hunter Ricky, Movies TV Mad, did you see my question? What was the question, my friend? Was it the Olivia Wilde thing, which I answered? Olivia Wilde will never direct us a DC movie. What was your question, Hunter Iggy? But yeah, you're right, Abraham Herrera. There, the dogs will be out. Abraham Herrera, the villain will be Kemek. I think it's time for a domestic villain, someone like Metallo. I'm done with alien invasions and world-ending apocalypse. I want to see something smaller. I want to see a human villain story. Metallo, John Corbin, is perfect. Smallville pulled it off perfectly. Ordinary guy, not a bad guy, gets killed, gets revived. You know, he gets a chip put in him. He gets the kryptonite heart. I thought that's the way you do it. My Manchester Black thing with Metallo and the Elite as well, pressuring the society to pressure Superman into killing Metallo. That's my story, and I would like it to be Metallo. Rolo, Manchester Black. Yeah, man, just listen. I haven't read the Elite Superman versus the Elite graphic novel, but the animated movie proved to me that that character would be amazing. Now, we did have a shitty version in Supergirl, didn't we? But he's a great character, and so is the Elite, because he wants to fight crime, but he wants to kill criminals. And he's got issues with Superman because he's saying, if you killed them, mate, as he talks, because he's British, that's another great thing. Rolo, Zack Snyder should play Manchester Black. That ain't going to work, is it? Manchester Black isn't. I don't think he can pull off a British accent. Abraham Herrera, I agree, but he has to be a complex villain, not just a generic one. Henry has to deliver the Dark Knight of his Superman trilogy. I am rooting for him. As are we all. All Superman fans should be rooting for him, because this is a big one. This is Last Chance Saloons. If this fails, we won't see a Superman film again in our lifetime. There can be no messing about. I'm waiting to see who they attach to this movie to write and direct it. That's all important. John, it will be interesting if Supergirl is in the next Superman movie. I was thinking about something today watching Superman Returns, because obviously he's the Donna Superman, and we had a Supergirl in the Donnaverse, in the Supergirl movie. So wouldn't it have been interesting if we introduced her in Superman Returns? That would have been kind of cool. But yes, and what Supergirl will they use? But, oops, I hit send too early. I always do that. Rolo, they could also do villains like Toyman and Parasite. Yeah, there's a lot of, listen, there's so many great DC villains and Superman villains. Toyman's interesting because he is a human villain. And obviously, there's a lot of things you can do with him as well. I'm not sure if he would work on his own. I certainly don't think he could work on his own. He could work working with Lex Luthor, something else Smallville did as well. And actually, Smallville, another great success story. Their Toyman was pretty solid as well. Bat Super, they have to get Raimi. If they get fucking Sam Raimi, I'm going to fucking do the strip on this channel. I'm going to dance. I'm going to drink fucking champagne. Sam Raimi, you know, what he did with Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, again, you know, he did what Richard Donner did with Superman the movie. And Spider-Man fans were luckier because they got him for 2 movies. Raimi would be amazing. I think Raimi would do a Superman movie. I think he said he would do a Superman movie. But let's see how ambitious they are. If they were to get Raimi, because there's no question he was held back by Feige with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But I don't actually mind the Multiverse of Madness. I think it would have been a worse film. A lot of these shills didn't like what he did. but I think he did a good job. I think it's one of the better Phase 4 movies, actually. I think for me, Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, definitely Multiverse of Madness, then Shang-Chi, which isn't a bad movie. Abraham Herrera, actually, Man of Steel was modeled after Batman Begins, even has the same kind of time jumps between old and young Clark, so it would be epic if they pulled it off. Yes, they did. Look, when I think they didn't go, they should have gone deeper into what Nolan did with Batman Begins. Because I think if they did to Clark what they did to Bruce in Batman Begins, totally, it would have worked better. So I think that would have been more interesting. For example, Bruce Wayne, Clark's been away, which he is, and he comes back and sees Martha. But I felt they didn't go at it at the same way. It lacked the same emotion. When Bruce Wayne comes back and goes to the mansion for the first time, it's very emotional. And I thought because Nolan wasn't totally in control of this movie, I mean, he was pretty much, but he allowed Goya to do his thing. So I think it lacked some emotion because I think the stuff they did with Batman Begins worked better than it did in Man of Steel. And that's just my personal opinion. And I think they should have gone deeper with that. If they actually went all in Batman Begins, they should have even called it Superman Begins. But Man of Steel was called Man of Steel because the Superman Returns sequel was supposed to be called Superman Man of Steel. They cut the Superman out and called it Man of Steel. Man of Steel is an interesting thing. I was talking to a friend of mine who says they like Man of Steel, but they feel it's a great alien invasion movie, but not necessarily a good Superman movie. And that's a very interesting point, isn't it? And he's not the first one to say that. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers has said the same thing before. A lot of people say it's a good film, but is it a good Superman film? And that's very interesting because it's certainly a well-made movie. Visually, it's a great epic movie. It's like a War of the Worlds movie. John, after Aquaman 2, when do you think we will see Ben Affleck as Batman again? Who knows? Who knows? I have got a theory about his appearance in Aquaman 2. So we know in the Flash movie, he appears on a screen at the end of the movie and they kind of reverse the BVS role. So instead of the Flash saying, I'm here, help us, it's Ben Affleck saying it. So maybe we get a similar thing in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, where he's on a screen again, asking Arthur Curry for help, like he's asking Barry for help. So that could be as much as we see of him in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. A lot of people started making a lot of assumptions when they found out he was going to be in that movie, which means if he's just a warning vessel, that makes sense how Jason Momoa hinted that Keaton and him are both in this movie. Because they're going full on Keaton still, because they know Keaton is going to put butts on seats. And Zaslav knows this studio is desperate for money. Now, I've actually seen some Michael Keaton Batman figures released for the Flash movie. So it looks like he's definitely still in that movie. So that's how Keaton and Affleck can be in it. I think they may still go with the Final Crisis thing. It's interesting. There's a lot of unknown quantities going on thus far. Rolo, Smallville wasn't really accurate, but it still had core elements of the characters that made it recognizable to the source material. Exactly. But the one thing is, Rolo, Clark Kent was Clark Kent from the comics. He felt like the Superman we've read. He felt like Superman. Yeah, he went dark sometimes, but that was because he was on Red K or something happened to him, but he always snapped out of it very quickly. Smallville for me is up there with Superman the movie in terms of iconic depictions of Superman. Abraham Herrera, I think MOS 2 and 3 should have been the priority after MOS for us to get emotionally connected to the character. The end of MOS made promises that weren't completely kept in BVS. That is brilliant, Abraham, because I've always said that. That's a great point. Because I said, how the fuck did we go from Welcome to the Planet? We got the classic, iconic Daily Planet banter, Then in BVS, we jump 18 months and Superman looks like he wants to fucking top himself, but we don't really know why. And so you're right. And what about the big, the big thing from Man of Steel that Snyder decided not to use in BVS, which is the Codex. The Codex is something that's inside Cal. It's got, I think, 1 billion Kryptonian life forms. A story about them being extracted into the world would be a huge fucking story. And I think maybe if we do a direct sequel to MOS, Henry would want to use that. So I think the Codex was a concept from David Goyer, and I think it's taken from the comics. And Snyder, once he had complete control, wasn't interested in the Codex. And that's a shame. So as you say, promises that were made in MOS weren't kept in BVS. And this is because they removed Nolan and Goyer and put Snyder in charge. For some reason, they didn't, I'm saying there's anything to blame anyone for MOS, but it looks like Nolan and Goyer got the blame for MOS not making $1 billion, but Snyder got a pass. And then after BVS, they thought maybe we got rid of the wrong people. Yes, you fucking did, because Nolan and Goyer actually made a really good Superman movie. There's actually some levity in places. It kind of works. There's issues there, of course, the snapping of Zod's neck and things like that. But ultimately, and that's the controversial moment that hurt that movie's box office. If that moment doesn't happen, that movie makes $1 billion. No question about that. Because whether you agree with the neck snapping or not, it's not something that hardcore or mainstream audiences want to see Superman do it. Rolo, Smallville and Batman Beyond are perfect examples of reimagining the characters but still having core elements that make it recognizable to the source material. Exactly. For example, people were quite angry at first that Lex was friends with Clark and he was living in Smallville. But there's a 1960s Superboy comic, Rolo. Don't know if you've ever seen it, where Lex Luthor comes to Smallville. He becomes friends with Clark, but then he gets jealous and their friendship breaks down. There's an accident with some toxin, and that's how he becomes bald. So that's where Alan Miles, who created Smallville, got that idea from. But you're right. Smallville changed the mythos in good ways without changing the mythos dramatically. Lois Lane coming to Smallville was another thing some fans didn't like, but ultimately people accepted it because it was a good take and it worked. John, I did enjoy that we only saw Superman at the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I did not enjoy. No, I agree with you. Listen, I've said it before. You can't do a Superman Rebirth story in a Justice League movie. They messed up. And we thought that was Whedon's fault. But that was actually Snyder's take. In fact, seeing the Snyder Cut was very educational because a lot of the stuff I blamed Whedon for was already there. Actually, the thing I mostly hate about Justice League is the upper lip thing. Some of the other stuff is interesting. The Flash Superman race is awesome, even though we don't actually see a race. Wonder Woman and Batman arguing whether or not to bring back Superman actually works for me. There's actually quite a few things that Whedon did in that film that were okay. I know I'm going to get hate for that, just my opinion. Abraham Herrera, I think Snyder knew that mix. That's why there is a big time jump in BVS. I guess he left room for that MOS too. Thankfully, they did that. So hopefully, if they do an MOS too, it redeems everything. But we'll see. That's not necessarily the way they're going to go. Bad Super Smallville is the best live-action DC show. Oh, yeah, there's no question. There's no debate. There is no debate. I'm sorry. I mean, Arrow, first 2 seasons of Arrow and The Flash come really close to taking it over, but then they fucked up in the other seasons. Smallville is amazing. And it was made in a time when people cared about what they were doing. And it wasn't about being progressive or bullshit like that. But they made a great show. And, that's what made me a DC fan. Meeting all those DC characters that I didn't even know about. When Green Arrow's first in Smallville, this is how much I knew about him. I thought he was a fucking villain. So Smallville did so many great things. Daxter, played by Mark McClure, played Jimmy Olsen in Superman the movie and 2. And 3 and 4. I didn't know about Daxter, and that was a good little DC character. Smallville Took a lot from the fucking comics. Amazing. Now, Lionel Luthor was an original character. I'm shocked that we never meet Lex's father in the comics. But yeah, I don't know if he's got a father in the comics today. But wow. Rolo, Smallville, Arrow, and The Flash seasons 1 and 2 and Stargirl are the best. Yes, Jeff Johns is doing very well quietly on Stargirl. Abraham Herrera, The Flash came close the first season, but Smallville is yet to be dethroned by another DC show. To be honest with you, I know a lot of people think Daredevil did dethrone Smallville. I don't agree with that because I don't think through its whole run, it was as consistent through its seasons as Smallville did. Season 1 of Smallville. It's a charming show where he's going to high school and he has to deal with meteor freaks. Season 2, he finds out his legacy. He finds out about his biological parents. We meet the voice of Jor-El, perfectly cast as by Terrence Stamp. That guy has got a great voice, by the way. Season 3, we see Lex Luthor have a break in his mental health. So we learn why Lex Luthor maybe becomes Lex Luthor in the future. Season 4, we meet Lois Lane. And at the end of the season, we see one of the best finales ever. And we're about to see the Fortress of Solitude rise. Because Superman should always have a fucking Fortress of Solitude. Sorry for that rant. Season 5, Jonathan Kent dies. Season 6, we have the Phantoms. Season 7, we find out about Veritas. The show's a major success. John, was Stargirl in Smallville? Yes, she was. She was in the movie event Absolute Justice, and she was great. And of course, Jeff Johns created Stargirl, or that version of Stargirl, based on his dead sister, and he wrote Absolute Justice. He wrote Booster Gold, and he wrote the best one he wrote on Smallville was Legion. That was great. We need a Legion movie. Role, they tried to beat Smallville 10-season record twice with Arrow and The Flash, but failed. But you know, it's not about longevity. It's about what you do within those seasons. Even if Flash and Arrow beat Smallville in terms of seasons, they wouldn't have beaten Smallville in terms of quality. You saw what Berlanti did to Smallville's Clark Kent in Crisis. Took his fucking powers away and made him a house husband. That ain't Smallville canon to me. And you can quote me on that. Oh. Right, stay there, everyone. I need to put a short sleeve t-shirt on because I'm really hot now. It's the temper, it's the anger. I'm still here, everyone. Just comment away. Rolo, they tried to beat... No. Rolo, I think Tom Welling didn't want to wear the suit. Well, did you know that they offered Tom Welling the opportunity to be in Superman Returns, and they did try and halt the show, Smallville, so they could do it, but they couldn't do it. So apparently Tom wouldn't have refused to be Superman in Superman Returns, but they couldn't do it. So that was interesting. He didn't want to wear the suit. Tom believed that we should never see Superman in Smallville. Now, I agree with that while the show was active, but in the finale, definitely should have had it on in the end. But I have so many issues with the Smallville series finale. Smallville didn't end the way Alan Miles wanted it. Smallville should have ended around seasons from 5 to 7. Biggest tragedy in Smallville is that Alan Miles weren't able to end their show. They went into a legal dispute with the CW, WBTV, and that's a shame. So Smallville never ended how they envisioned. And I don't really like the Smallville series finale, apart from the scene. There's a few good things in it, but really the Lex and Clark in the burnt out mansion scene is the best thing about it. And he came in, last moment. He didn't want to come back, Rosenbaum. And then his fans acted up and he was worried about his future career, so he had to come and do it. John, I wish they used Supergirl more in Smallville. Well, she was in the entirety mostly of season 7. then they cut her from season 8. Because Alan Miles basically introduced her. They left, so, Kelly and Brian didn't want to use her. Rolo, do you remember the episode with Booster Gold and Blue Beetle? Absolutely, yes. That was a great episode. And you know what? It's interesting, isn't it? Because Smallville succeeded with most of the DC characters they introduced. I thought Blue Beetle was excellent, and I thought Booster Gold was really comic accurate, again, by Jeff Johns. Abraham Herrera, actually, some of Smallville's episodes couldn't be made today because they'd be considered offensive, like when Clark is being an arsehole to Lana. If it were made today, they'd be toxic men propaganda. Maybe. I think you could still use it as a kind of character evolution and a character moment. I think you could still do that. There's other things. Maybe Clark wouldn't be able to rescue Lana all the time because that wouldn't be very women's lib. But as I say to feminists, as a man, I need rescuing, and as a woman, sometimes you need rescuing. We all need someone to save us sometimes. If I delete your message, I'm not being toxic. It's because they've held it for review, and I don't want that going against my channel. So if you don't swear in your comments, it's better your comments get left there. It's just easier. Because I don't want to get a spanked bum from YouTube. So I like going live, and I think you guys enjoy the live. And it's fun. Abraham Herrera, Somebody Save Me. What a song. I mean, the John Williams theme is iconic. And they found a fucking song that's just as iconic as the Williams theme. And I'd say Somebody Save Me is more iconic than Idea of Hope. Now, I like Idea of Hope. I'm not trying to start a war here. But Somebody Save Me is fucking iconic. Somebody say. No, I'm not going to do it. I can't sing. Sing. I can't do it. I can't reach there. What a show. What a show. Smallville is an icon. The things they did, the Kawatche Caves, the Fortress of Solitude, Veritas, which was amazing. Finding out that Jonathan and Lionel met before the Smallville pilot. Or on the Smallville pilot, but we didn't see. You know what I did? Listen to this, Smallville fans. I used to have a DVD recorder. One time, you know the bit in Superman Returns when Clark's thinking about his childhood. So instead of putting a bit when he's running through the field, I put loads of Smallville flashbacks on there. But the movie ended up being 6 fucking hours because I couldn't fucking stop myself. And then I re-edited the Smallville pilot. You know when we see the reveal of Veritas? And the Teagues, the Queens, the Luthers and all that. I added that. I added when Luther and Jonathan Kent first met and he handles the adoption. I used to do loads of Smallville edits. Rolo, remember when Clark was called the Blur? I certainly did. And he was in another great character evolution prior to becoming Superman. Rolo, I always liked Clark's black trench coat outfit. Yeah, they called it the Neo look, didn't they? Yeah, I remember those days, yeah. Abraham Herrera, Tom Welling is kind of a private dude, but he could have taken advantage of his Superman fame and become a superstar, but he didn't care. Yeah, look, the industry is very difficult, Abraham. It's not as easy as that. Look at Michael Rosenbaum who played Lex. He's just doing podcasts. It's not easy. To be successful. And I predicted Michael Rosenbaum would be a multiple Oscar winner. His performance in Smallville is so fucking good. And to see him really not even acting anymore, it's obviously his personal choice. I don't know what happened to him in the industry. Something clearly put him off. But as you say with Tom Welling, I like the fact that he's a private dude. He never embarrassed the character of Clark Kent or Superman in public. And I think most of the actors who have played him have been the same. Christopher Reeve was very strict about not drinking and smoking or swearing in public. And as Henry Cavill said once, he said, playing Superman is actually a life choice. And it absolutely is. And Tom Welling was a great choice. He became a great actor. He was very raw when he first started. He became a really good director. He partially directed Absolute Justice as well and a few other episodes. Abraham Herrera, you're right. Michael Rosenbaum was sensational. I mean, I was just so compelled by that performance. So, there was this scene when Lex visits Lionel in prison. And it's just after his whiskey was poisoned at the end of season 3. And Lionel goes to him, you'll never know. Every time you drink a glass of whiskey, every friend you make, you'll never know if I'm going to get you. And you see Rosenbaum's eyes filling up with tears. And it's the devastation in his face. Such a good actor. And it's a waste. It's a waste. It's a shame, but it's his life and not mine. John, I really enjoyed what they did with the character of Doomsday in Smallville. What a good idea. When you don't have the budget to do Doomsday, right, what you do is you create this Bruce Banner type of character in Davis Bloom. And who would have known Sam Witwer would have ended up voicing Star Wars games and Star Wars animation, a really good actor. And he did a really good job with Davis Bloom. I really felt that emotion. Not sure I understood why all of a sudden he killed Jimmy Olsen. That went a bit nuts, didn't it? They shouldn't have killed Jimmy Olsen, by the way. But they decided in the comics Jimmy is younger, which he is. So they decided to do the Henry James Olsen thing. Oh, I don't know. It was, it was interesting, Smallville, because it changed direction when Alan Miles left. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in the final 3 seasons, but to me, the final 3 seasons are nowhere near on the level than the first 7 seasons. Abraham Herrera, Smallville season 3 was the first TV show I bought on DVD. I was like 14. Good times. What times? Rolo, did you read my comment? Let me see. Oh, hang on, Rolo. Sorry, mate. Rolo, my favourite moment is the Justice League walk with the explosion in the background. Yeah, Justice, that episode is great. You're absolutely right. I wasn't going to say, but yeah, listen to this, Abraham. I watched season 1. And then I moved to Cyprus, and the first time I moved to Cyprus, I moved back to the UK after that time, but I didn't have access to Smallville. So when I went back to the UK, I bought seasons 2, 3, and I binged them. And what happened was I missed the whole of season 4, but it turned up on a channel called E4, the finale did. So even though I hadn't watched the rest of season 4, I watched the finale. And I was so amazed at the season 4 finale, the effects, the meteor shower, the crystal, the North Pole. Amazing. These are great achievements. No superhero show, especially prequels are very difficult to pull off, as we saw from the Star Wars prequels to, the Rings of Power. People are not normally pleased with them, but Smallville pulled it off. But Smallville was a very special. I mean, I was obsessed. When I say Smallville was my life, Smallville was my life. I used to bore the shit out of people about Smallville. And I didn't know anyone else who liked Smallville. And I wasn't on the internet back then. I don't think many of us were. My fantasy was to talk to people who loved Smallville. I got onto Twitter and met people who loved Smallville. But unfortunately, there was a lot of divisive conversations when Smallville was active, mainly thanks to the shippers. We had Clois, we had Klarna. Who remembers Clois and Klarna? John, I used to watch Smallville every week on. Rolo, I'm from the UK, Great Britain. I watched Smallville on E4, as did I. And when I was a kid, I'm 21 now, and nothing has been as good. Smallville was amazing. Smallville was beyond its time because it's telling a story. And this is the problem, I suppose, when you're watching The Flash or Arrow. They're not going anywhere. They're already heroes. So when you do it that way, when you compare it to Smallville, it's not as interesting. Abraham Herrera, I don't think anyone has ever asked Henry how he feels about Smallville. Yes, I don't know if Henry was a Superman fan prior to Man of Steel. I do know he said during Man of Steel or before Man of Steel, he read a lot of the comics to study up, but I'm not sure if he was really a Superman fan, not that he has to be, and I'm not sure how aware he is of Smallville. But Henry's a very smart guy. I'm sure he is aware of it and understands it's iconic. And Smallville is something that anyone making a Superman movie should look at because it made Clark a character. They looked at Clark's humanity because the superhero action in Smallville is brilliant, but the character conversations, the dynamics are as epic as the superhero action. Lex and Lionel is as epic as any action scene. Clark and Lex as compelling as any bit of action you'll ever see. And this is what Smallville got right. And modern day superhero shows or movies don't do what Smallville did. Smallville had a low budget, so they had to do that to make the characters more interesting. Otherwise, you'd be waiting for the next action-packed scene, which they didn't have the budget for. Rolo, I felt sad when Hawkman died. Yes, that was sad, wasn't it? Hawkman was great, wasn't he, on Smallville? Rolo, Smallville and Stargirl did the JSA way better than Black Adam. Yes. One of, as I said, I wouldn't have done that with the JSA and Black Adam. When I heard they were going to be in it, I assumed they were going to use the Legion ring and come back from their peak era in the 40s or whatever and have the OG JSA. Just having Hawkman, Dr. Fate, and two newcomers isn't good enough for me. And they didn't really explain their past that much. Listen, I liked Black Adam for what it was. But when it finished, I felt I was eating a sandwich without enough meat in it. And I've explained that on my channel before. And this is why it's not making the money, for example, that Wakanda Forever is going to make. You can't cheat your public. And that movie, I think, cheats its public. A 2-hour movie, crammed in, great action. It's okay, but it could have been better. John, was Smallville going to get cancelled at one point? Smallville wasn't getting cancelled. Alan Miles wanted to end it in season 7, but there was a Writers Guild of America strike, so they couldn't do it. So when they came back, they knew that Michael Rosenbaum wanted to leave, that Kristen wanted to leave, that John Glover wanted to leave. So they had to come back and tell this great Veritas story, and to come back after a writer's strike and pull that off. And in fact, I'm followed by Don Henderson, one of the writers who wrote my favorite Smallville episode. What's it called? Descent. So Don, who follows me, and I follow him, actually co-wrote that episode with his wife, Holly Henderson. I never thought I'd be followed by people who worked on Smallville. I think that's amazing. Right, I feel like Aldis Hodge would have been a perfect Mr. Terrific instead of Hawkman. Yeah, you know what? I think they kind of did that. They wanted to be like progressive, and he's good. He's good. It's where we are now. Someone tried to make fun of Smallville's Dr. Fate and Hawkman and compare the visuals of Hawkman and Dr. Fate. And I said, no, I'm not having this. I'm not having this. Abraham Herrera, JSA was also in that team-up show from Arrowverse. I forgot the name. Constantine also showed up in that show. Right. Let's be absolutely clear here, Abraham, in my opinion. The JSA in Legends of Tomorrow, because that's what you're talking about, were shit. Unremarkable shit. And Constantine, of course, I love that Constantine. In fact, he should be having his own movie instead of Keanu Reeves. He's proper comic book Constantine. And they chucked him on Legends. Wasted on Legends. What the fuck was he doing on Legends? Because everyone wants to shag Sarah Lawrence, don't they? Rolo, why was Stargirl in the 40s? What the fuck? Well, exactly. Abraham Herrera. Yeah, that's why I didn't remember the name. I quit watching after season 1. I liked Legends until I got the point where there was this woman being taken to Fantasy Island, and this other woman taking this woman there. This is what the conversation was. Don't worry, there's no men there. Once they said and did that, that was it for me. That's Greg Berlanti, by the way. Sack him. Get rid of him. I don't want him handling DC. How the fuck was he able to enable Arrowverse when he'd been part of the Green Lantern movie that flopped? Hollywood really is a place where you fail upwards, not downwards. Yeah, they could have done a lot better with the JSA in Black Adam. Rolo, Legends Season 1 and 2 was okay, but then it died. Yes, I agree. Again, same as Arrow and The Flash. Let me tell you when Legends fucked up. Once Arthur Darvill left as Rick, whatever his name was, the captain, the guy from Doctor Who, right, Arthur Darvill, once he left, that was it. Because we had to make Sarah Lance the fucking captain. Not that she's not good at the role, but we all know what they were up to. And of course she has to be into girls, doesn't she? Even though in the Arrow pilot, she was riding Oliver Queen like she was on a crash course. But apparently now she likes girls. It's like the whole Harley and Poison Ivy thing. All of a sudden she's not into the Joker anymore. Yeah, we all know what you're doing. We all know. We understand. We get it. Stop smashing our heads with that hammer, right? And you know, it's like the Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn. All of a sudden, we're supposed to forget that she's fucking murdered people. She helped Joker fucking make people's lives a misery. But all of a sudden, we're supposed to think she's this fucking salt of the fucking earth. Like when she kills that dude in the Suicide Squad. Well, killing kids is really bad. They try and make it look like she's the Joker's victim. She was just as bad as the Joker was. Rolo, now Javicia Leslie in The Flash. Yeah, enough said. Won't be watching that. Abraham Herrera, Harley's not a girly girl. She's an effing freak. Abraham Herrera, Margot misunderstood what Harley is. No, she's just a propaganda merchant, an extreme leftist, a progressive, and a feminist, and that's what she's interested in. She understands Harley 100%. She just doesn't want to display like proper core Harley. But we're lucky because we're getting a director in Todd Phillips who's giving us another chance with Harley. I mean, imagine casting Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. That's going to be some serious hardcore shit, isn't it? It's all going off on Twitter, isn't it? Now Elon Musk is in charge. So funny, so funny. There was one celebrity saying, I'm quitting Twitter now he's bought the company in a couple of days. If you're that fucking offended about it, love, why don't you just leave straight away? You ain't going to leave. You'll be back. You're just trying to make a statement, you propaganda merchant. This is Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick. We have 6 viewers. We have 3 likes, which is pathetic. I don't mind the viewers, but I think 3 likes is pretty bad. Abraham Herrera, Lady Gaga's Harley will be dark. When does production start, though? Is it in development still? That movie is definitely happening, and they start production near the end of this year. So that's happening. That's more definite than the Batman sequel. Rolo, remember when there was a rumoured Smallville animated series? Yeah. And Tom and Michael Rosenbaum was kind of hinted about it on their podcast. But with the merger, that may not be happening anymore. We don't know if that's still a thing. We'll see. Personally, I think they should do something live action-y. But you see, they don't have to get into shape if it's animation. It certainly would be fun to see an animated Smallville series. I don't know what they're going to do, but Alan Miles are involved in that. I know what they should do. Right, redo season 8. Redo season 8 to 10, the Alan Miles way. I'd like that, because once that series finale ended, I wanted that to happen. I got myself in a lot of trouble. After the series finale, I was not happy. I mean, Darkseid Lionel is one of the most fucking cringiest things ever. Whoever came up with that idea needs to never write anything again. Darkseid Lionel is cringe and it's so disrespectful to an iconic character. If you can't afford to do Darkseid, don't do Darkseid. Abraham Herrera, maybe a 1 hour special with the Smallville cast to see where they are now after the last episode of Smallville. Well, I know where Alison Mack is, if that's any good to you. No, I love Ali. I do love Ali, and it's a shame what happened to her. Alison Mack was one of the greatest actresses I've ever seen in my life. And what an absolute shame. I'd love to see more Smallville, but considering what we saw on Crisis, maybe it's best we don't. Because I don't want Superman to be a fucking house husband. It's ridiculous. But that's Greg Berlanti for you, isn't it? Because he was the one who was behind that. Of course he was. Or we can never forget when Superman was in that Arrowverse crossover and you had Cisco going, Kara, my favourite Kryptonian. Him. Rolo, they should adapt the Smallville comics that came out after the show. Yes, I was hoping they might do that with this animated series, but apparently that's not the direction they were thinking of going in. But Smallville Series 11 was pretty good. I mean, it continues from season 10. So it's interesting. Abraham Herrera, hey Mick, since it's Halloween, I recommend Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. Oh, I'll have a look at that after I finish this live. Although, do I want to watch a horror movie at night time? I'm on my own. Bit creepy, eh? Maybe I'll watch it during the day tomorrow. It's not as scary then, is it? I mean, I was freaked out when I watched Blonde. I was a bit creeped out after I saw that. And that's not even a horror movie. I mean, I loved Blonde. I knew I was going to like Blonde because everyone else hated it. If the critics say they don't like something and people start getting offended about something, I know I'm going to like it. And I really did like Blonde. I really did. What a tragic story. And that's what Hollywood does to people. And if you think it's any different today, you haven't been paying attention. Abraham Herrera, it's 8 episode show from hand-picked directors. Oh, it's that one. Yeah, I would have watched that by Guillermo del Toro. Bad Super, I watched Child's Play during the day. I cheated. Yeah, Child's Play's great. Do you know what? I find Child's Play amusing. I love him. I fucking love Chucky. He's hilarious. I'd love to let him loose on Twitter. I know he's not real. Rolo, Smallville also had a good Flash. Smallville had a great Flash, and it was Impulse, wasn't it? It was Bart Allen. They couldn't use Barry Allen at the time. I remember that. But he was really, really good. Really, really good. I liked him. And we actually saw a proper Clark Kent Flash race as well. John, did you ever watch the TV series Under the Dome? I tried to. I know it's a Stephen King story. A funny story. I wrote a similar story that echoed Under the Dome. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's called Trapped, and I never knew about Under the Dome at the time. So I tried to pitch Trapped. Trapped is a story. My story, Trapped, is a story where people wake up in July, it's snowing, and these mysterious metal walls rise up and block the exits and entrances of the town. So when I tried pitching it, they said, we can't, because Stephen King will sue you and sue us because you ripped this off. I said, I didn't. I haven't watched Under the Dome. I haven't read. There you go. I came up with a similar idea than Stephen King. I wasn't even thieving from him. Isn't that interesting? Yes. But I wasn't that into it. I was into those kind of things at the time, like Lost. But I used to compare everything to Lost. And the problem is Under the Dome, it's not Lost because everyone's at home. So I liked Lost because it wasn't about 2.4 kids all the time. You had single people, you had a couple of couples, it was different. Loss took people away from their comfort zone. That's what I liked about it. So no, John, I didn't really get into Under the Dome. It didn't really work for me. And it didn't last too long either, did it? How many seasons did Under the Dome last for? It wasn't successful, was it? Smallville had a great Flash, a great Green Arrow, a great Hawkman, a great Stargirl. Core. Who am I missing on? There's so many. A great Cyborg. I thought he was okay, although he didn't really look like a cyborg very much. But that was to do with their budget. Aquaman was okay, although the actor's doing very well for himself now. Rolo, is your connection working? Probably not. It's probably shit if you can't see me or something. Mine is. I mean, I look okay. Is anyone else having problems seeing me? Rewind the times. Hey, Mick, sorry I'm late. Don't do it again. No, I'm joking. Welcome to the chat. Bat Super. Oops. Rewind the times. Black Adam hit 250 million today. It's not good enough, my friend. That's Shazam money. It's going to make just a bit more than Shazam. As I predicted, it's not good enough. It's not great. And you see Wakanda Forever go. And this is the problem with the Hamadaverse. And this is the problem. This is the job. This is the big job that James Gunn and Peter Safran have to do. People are talking about a Marvel and DC crossover. Let's get our house in order first, eh? But Super, I'm happy that Clark and Lois gets together, but I was really feeling Clark and Lana. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you know anything about Superman, you know that Lana is his childhood sweetheart and Lois Lane is his future. And they basically did both relationships so well. Rolo, oh, it's okay. Rewind the times, thank you. I know I'm trying to stay positive, though. Oh, look, if you want to stay positive, it's fine, but it's just not good. It's no good pretending. But the good news is it's the Hamadaverse. Hamada gets the blame. It doesn't stop anything happening. The DCEU is a thing. Gunn and Safran are in charge. We're getting a Superman movie, which is the most exciting thing ever. So don't worry about the box office. John, will we get a Black Adam 2? If you saw that box office, would you green light a Black Adam 2? No, I think he'll turn up in other people's movies. Let's see what they think of that box office. Of course, it hasn't hit China yet. It may not hit China. We have to wait and see. Rewind the times. Black Adam opens up in China on November the 11th. Could be a big numbers. It's just a shame it didn't open up in China at the same time because it's just weird, isn't it? Abraham Herrera. Black Adam will do good. The Rock is working his ass off. In my country, there are at least a dozen interviews in different news outlets and YouTubers. He's going everywhere. Oh, I know. He promoted the movie, but unfortunately, for superhero movie numbers, it's Shazam numbers. The thing is, Shazam cost under 100 million to make. This film cost considerably more. So you can't call it a flop. It's not a great success. And Wakanda Forever comes out this weekend, I think. So I don't know who decided to release Black Adam at this time of year. It was going to release in the summer. I don't know. This studio was run by idiots. I'm glad we got good leadership now. Let's see where they take us. Rewind the times. I think if Black Adam hit 500 million, I'd be happy. I think it's solid at the very least. Rolo, I think superhero movies are dying out, but I still love them. Listen, I think when you see the reaction to Cavill coming back as Superman and the excitement for Gunn and Safran running DC, it's still a thing. It's still popular. I don't think it's dying out. I think the quality is the problem. Rewind the times. Black Panther comes out November the 11th. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Not sure about that. Rewind the times. No, Black Panther in China. So that could be a win for us DC fans. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. The global is going to destroy what Black Adam did domestically. Rewind the times. Yeah, November 11th, bud. Whatever it is, Wakanda Forever is going to shit all over Black Adam financially. It's part of the MCU. We already know that. It's not even worth. It's not worth even talking about Black Adam and Wakanda Forever. The MCU, as I've said all year long, they have got consumer loyalty and confidence. Rollo, I don't really want to cross over with progressive Marvel. I don't care. I mean, I wouldn't want to cross over with them if they were progressive or not. I want DC to get their house in order. And I don't want to cheat, doing a shit kind of team up where James Gunn and Kevin Feige are running that crossover. No, thank you. Sort DC up, please. It's bad enough hearing James Gunn going, oh, we're not rivals with Marvel. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Sorry, mate, you're wrong. You are wrong. Rewind the times. You could slap doo-doo on a Marvel movie. It makes numbers. It's a shame. It is a shame, but it's consumer confidence that people buy Coca-Cola because it's a Coca-Cola and don't buy the cheap Tesco Coca-Cola. It's the same thing, isn't it? The brand is trusted and kids love it. Kids love it. This is what I'm talking about. Once you've got the general audience and you've got families, you're onto a winner. That's what DC need to do. And there's none of this, oh, we don't want the general audience. Yes, we do. We need them. We need them. Because DC live action isn't going to make big money. Isn't going to make Marvel money without the general audience. And people are dreaming. It can't survive just on DC fandom. Rewind the times. For Love and Plunder was terrible. Made 750 million, which was a win for them. A win, because it is a terrible movie. But as you say, they can make any old crap, slap the Marvel logo on it, and it does well. But that's down to the work that Feige put in the early days, and it's worked for them. And even in the bad movies, they got great world building. They introduced characters, and this is what people want. And this is what DC need to do. As I said, for me, DC would have started from scratch once Armada left. I wouldn't even be continuing the DCEU if it was me. But let's see what they're going to do. Let's see what the plan is for the DCU. I'm fascinated to see what they're going to do. Let's see how clever James Gunn and Peter Safran actually are. Their decisions will inform me very much so. I mean, I think that's enough 4 films, don't you? I don't think we want any more 4 movies, although I did hear there's rumours of a 4-4. A 4-4. But this is the movie industry right now, I'm afraid. I'm glad that Top Gun Maverick is the biggest film of the year, though, and it's not a comic book movie. That's made the studios think a little bit. And if this continues, that the superhero movies are not making as much as other movies, because this is the first time this year. And I mean, look at Disney. They were slapped up by The Rise of Gru. They thought their Buzz Lightyear thing, that Lightyear film, that progressive Lightyear piece of shit, was going to do loads of business, and it didn't. It was a dumb idea. And the biggest toxic thing they did was take Tim Allen away from the role. They don't like Tim Allen because he's a Republican. Although he's working with them with their Santa Claus series, which I'm excited about. Rewind the time, my opinion, they're just going to continue the DCEU. Gunn's work is part of that current DCEU, remember? It is. But Peacemaker 2 could be the last. I mean, listen, as I say, I don't know. You're right. It looks like they're going to continue it. It's not something I would do. I would cancel the DCEU now if it was up to me. There'll be no Joker 2. There'd be no The Batman 2. I'd start again with a connective universe. It's what they should do. But they're not going to do it. Rolo, who gives a damn whether or not someone is a Republican? Well, we're sane. We don't care. But this industry is insane. That's why you had one of the people involved in Bro's movie calling people homophobic for not going to watch his movie. This is what nut jobs they are. Rewind the time. So we're so behind versus Marvel. I can't see them rebooting, my opinion, bud. No, I can't see them rebooting, but at the end of the day, that's what they should do because there's no consumer confidence in the DCEU. Now, I know they've changed it to DCU now, but that makes no difference if they're just still trying to fix the DCEU. The DCEU should be chucked in a bin. It's a failed experiment, but they won't do that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe they will. I'd be very happy if they actually use their brains. Because there is a problem here. So I don't know what they do. The Flash movie is going to be interesting, what type of timeline they give us. I mean, are they just going to plod along and continue with Hamada's arc? It kind of looks like that, doesn't it? Which seems like a really stupid thing to do. But I mean, I did like Peacemaker. I thought Gunn did great work with that. But I mean, it's one thing to be a good writer-director. It's another thing to be running DC Studios. You know, two different jobs. Is he capable of it? We'll soon find out. Rewind the times. I love Peacemaker. His Suicide Squad, both big hits. Yeah. Well, the Suicide Squad was a flop in theatres, did well on HBO Max. I like the Suicide Squad. I think Peacemaker is actually better than the Suicide Squad. But the one success story with Black Adam is the reintroduction of Superman. If that ends up being the one thing, you know, that is memorable from the movie, then that's a win because it brought Superman back. Rewind the times. Yes, Peacemaker was better. Give me a Vigilante movie or show. Oh, Vigilante was amazing. Amazing, I tell you. Abraham Herrera, it will be a semi-reboot, in my opinion, using all the characters and actors, but not follow the same story. Who knows? Yes, and I think they're probably going to use Flash to do whatever they're going to do. I don't know what that is. We do know they did extensive reshoots with the Flash in the summer. Conveniently, Ezra Miller was having a good few days while that was going on. And we don't know his future. Will he remain? We will find out. Could go either way. Apparently, someone reckons on Twitter that James Gunn apologized to Ray Fisher ages ago. That's interesting. Rewind the times. I think we will get origin movie for JSA. Well, it depends if the studio liked the box office for Black Adam and how people kind of, you know, reacted to the JSA in that film. Rewind the times. Bring back Ray Fisher, please. Yes, please. I love his Cyborg. Abraham Herrera, the JSA movie, if they make one, has to be with Pierce Brosnan as the lead. Pierce Brosnan, of course, is excellent because Pierce Brosnan has got something many don't have. It's very similar to Robert Downey Jr. when he first came in as Iron Man. He's got that Seneche Quoi. He's got that he's got that special something. Personality. You need personality in this world. Personality is key. And this is why he was a great Bond, of course. But he reckons that him dying isn't exactly how it seems. The JSA movie, if they make one, has to be with Pierce Brosnan. All right. Bonesaw is coming. Hey, Mick, would you do Grace Randolph? No comment. Rewind the times. Brosnan brings that if factor to Dr. Fate. Yes, he's amazing. He's amazing. Great casting. Whoever come up with that casting is amazing. But Pierce Brosnan is definitely awesome. That was genius casting. Rewind the times. Rog said Brosnan was the last actor they brought on the movie. Perfect casting, definitely. Surely they didn't make him audition. Surely they decided it was him. It was a good idea, very good idea. And he was so good with the fans as well. Abraham Herrera, Piers was great as 007 too. He really was. Unfortunately, the people making the movies they got worse and worse. But he was a great Bond. I think they retired Piers off as Bond too early. Rewind the times, Mick. Who's your favourite Bond? Ooh, Roger Moore. Roger Moore was actually a friend of my dad's. So I knew Roger as a little boy, but he was the first Bond I ever saw, and he was amazing. Rolo, killing Dr. Fate was stupid. Well, according to Pierce Brosnan, all is not what it seems, and he could be alive, and he's in talks to reprise his role, according to Pierce. So we're seeing. Rewind the times, Moore was very good. Pierce was mine. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm probably a lot older than you. I'm 50. So as a kid, Live and Let Die was the first Bond film I ever saw. Abraham Herrera, GoldenEye for Nintendo 64 was great for its time. Oh, yeah. Fucking love that game. Actually, Bond game. Actually, my favourite Bond game, The Living Daylights. They actually have the guy chucking the milk bottles, the exploding milk bottles. Barry, hi, Mick. I thought you were in your 60s. Rewind the times. Abraham, yeah. Hang on, Barry. Let me look at your profile picture to see if I can tell your age. Oh, no, you're hiding from me, Barry. You don't want to show your appearance. Wonder why. Rewind the times. Nick drinks unicorn's blood. He's 29, lol. Rewind the times, Mick. You've always got to admire people who hide behind an avatar, getting all brave. Of course, in reality, would be, oh no, Mick, that wasn't me. Oh no, please, Mick, please don't. But when they're on the internet, they're the big ones, aren't they? They got all that. Let's see all that in reality. But that's not going to happen, is it? Believe you me, son, when you're my age, you won't look as good as me. Rewind the times. You look good for your age, Mick. Thank you. I know I do, but I appreciate the compliment. Abraham Herrera, there is a documentary on YouTube about the making of that game. It almost didn't happen. They had to come up with a way to compress all that data into the 64 cartridge. It was almost impossible. Yeah, the way they used to do games back then, I mean, I am a Nintendo fan. I think Nintendo, even with the PlayStation and the Xbox doing so many amazing things, I still think Nintendo have a unique factor about their gaming, and I prefer the Nintendo stuff. And I'm a sucker for Mario Kart. I still think they should have made the Mario Kart movie. It's like the lot on TikTok, isn't it? They're so brave with their comments, but if they saw you in real life, they'd be hiding behind a tree. You've got to love Gen Z, though, haven't you? The most useless generation ever created. Just wait till Putin announces World War III, and they're going to cry because they ain't got their devices anymore. Rewind the times. Yeah, Mick, Mario Kart. Many weekend with my buddies playing that that I'm 42 myself. I'm old school. Well, you know what? I embrace life. I love life. I love this world. I love the internet. Unfortunately, you get the undesirables. Rolo, I'm Gen Z, but I'm not like them. No offense, my friend. No offense. Abraham Herrera, call me old-fashioned, but I'd rather play Mario 64 than any of these new and advanced games. Oh, yeah. Look, all the Mario stuff. Look, what Nintendo do is amazing. They're so unique. And to be able to compete with the big boys still, with their uniqueness, for me is amazing. I mean, my favorite Nintendo game system was the Super NES. I remember coming home from school or work or whatever it was. Can't remember, such a long time ago. I've actually got the Super NES somewhere. I might get it out and play it. But the Super Nintendo, wow, what a system. I used to like the Sega Mega Drive, Sonic. That was a unique system as well. Rewind the times. Classic Nintendo is my favorite system. Yep. Amazing stuff, amazing stuff. It used to be Sega versus Nintendo. It used to be the Commodore versus the Spectrum. Rewind the time. Sega CD, all great systems. Commodore 64, we used to put the tape in. We used to load up the tape. It used to take about an hour before we could play Football Manager. Those were the days. Better than these modern times, right? During the war. Abraham Herrera, Nintendo was like the Disney of the gaming industry. They could never compete with Microsoft and Sony because of the violent games. Violence is the norm for games now. Rolo, the Mario movie looks good. It does look okay, despite everyone hating on poor Chris Pratt, just because he goes to church every Sunday and he's a Republican. Rewind the time. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Lol. The old slogan for Sega. Well, I like Sega, but Nintendo was the daddy for me because it's unique. Nintendo had the characters. That's the thing. Nintendo had something unique. And I still now stick with Nintendo over Xbox, PlayStation, or anything. Nintendo's the daddy. Because you know what's good about Nintendo? It's still for kids. Rewind the times. Mario's known worldwide. Exactly. M. Sargent, just jumping in. Dolphins game. I agree. The next Superman must deliver, considering the critics are out to obliterate any DCU. Well, listen. Superman was the first, as I said earlier, but I'll say for you as well. Superman was the first comic book superhero. He made the first superhero blockbuster movie. Says everything, doesn't it? So this Superman movie must be the best thing fucking ever. They must think deeply about what they do. Because if they fuck it up, we won't see a Superman movie again in our lifetime. I know I've said it earlier on, but I have to say it because this is how important it is. So there can be no messing about. So I will judge. My excitement will either go up or down depending who's writing and directing this. So we'll see who that is. So if it's some idiot that I know is an idiot who's going to fuck it up, right? I ain't going to be happy. I mean, it could be J.J. Abrams. I mean, what would we think if J.J. Abrams was writing and directing a Superman movie, knowing what happened with Star Wars? Rewind the times. I think the Superman movie will be good, Mick. Henry has a lot of input, it seems. Yes, a lot. MSGT, I think whatever they do, they have to focus on what will please the ticket sales, not so much the critics. Definitely, that's a good point. Rewind the times. S-C-R-E, I won't say the word. S-C-R-E-W, J.J. Abrams. I prefer blondes. Abraham Herrera, Kevin Feige said Gunn still has work to do with Marvel till May when they ask about Gunn's promotion. Yeah, listen, he's still working on Guardians 3. That's what he means. So, yeah, so he's right. But it doesn't matter because the job he's got as DC Studios co-chair is one he can do through Zoom and streaming. You know, he doesn't have, it's not a 9-to-5 job anyway. So You know, Peter Safran could say, hi, James, we're going to do this. Are you okay with that? Yeah, mate, that's it. It's not a big deal. As I say, they've been talking since summer, so they know what they're doing. The plans are in place. This is why I think this Superman thing has been in the planning for a long time, longer than we even knew about it. Abraham Herrera, Kevin Feige said Gunn still has no, I've read that, haven't I? Yeah. And Kevin Feige is also very salty. What a shame. Poor baby. Give him a nappy and a dummy and put him to bed. Lord Feige. There's Lord Feige, there's Lord Snyder. Why are we calling people in entertainment fucking Lord? Do you know what? Some people have got icons of Zack Snyder and they kiss them before they go to bed. Rewind the times. Oh, it's definitely been in the works for a while. Henry has been knowing something for a while. Well, do you remember when we had the rumors of Henry coming to San Diego Comic-Con to talk about his future as Superman? So something was going on then, obviously, but then he didn't turn up. So it was all very strange. Maybe they were planning on sending him, but he couldn't come because he had COVID, because he did have COVID. Rolo, Feige is overrated. Favreau was the real talent. Yeah, he's the one who did the first movie. Well, Feige wasn't actually the president of Marvel Studios at that time. He was involved, of course. He only became president of Marvel Studios down the line. And actually, since he's been president of Marvel Studios, probably that's when it all went downhill. I rewind the times, agree, Mick. MSGT, all of this had to have been in play since the merger. Zaslav knows money and Cavill is money. I saw this months ago. Yeah, definitely. And Zaslav said as soon as he walked in, before he walked in, my priority will be Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. And there you have it. Abraham Herrera, but I see Gunn's promotion as a strategy. Imagine being an exec at Warner and knowing that the industry critics have a grudge against your company. Think about that. Yeah, look, critics don't like Zaslav, for example, because he shelved Batgirl, which was a progressive movie. So they already got it in for him. But listen, I'm quite sure if a movie's good, they're going to have to be kind to it. But they're irrelevant anyway. Rolo Feige was only in charge of the movies, but Endgame made $1 billion. It did. Baz Super, what if the 10-year plan is MCU copy? Look, there's going to be elements of having an arc and having phases, for sure. It doesn't mean they're going to copy and paste, but I think, yeah, we will have a phase 1 and a phase 2. We will have a Thanos kind of, we'll have a dark side arc. Well, we'll have these big arcs that kind of, bleed through the actual phases. And I think that's okay. We'll have post-credit scenes. I think that's okay. So I don't think everything the MCU do is bad. I don't mind the MCU. I'm kind of bored of phase 4, but everyone's bored of phase 4. They've gone a bit downhill lately. But the actual concept of having a TV series as a movie series and having crossovers and cameos and arcs and phases is actually a very smart move. Rolo, and Feige cancelled all the Marvel shows he wasn't involved. That was a terrible mistake. Yeah, Baz Super, I just hope they don't copy the tone and quipness. It'll be there. It'll be there. I'm afraid we're probably going to go that way. Barry, have you got your free bus pass for the elderly, Mick? Now you're in your 60s. Abraham Herrera, I think Feige is more interested in the business side of things at this point. At least it seems that way. Rewind the times, Mick. Next excited DC movie. Well, I suppose it's slightly exciting, Shazam Fury of the Gods. I mean, really, the one I'm really excited for is probably Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Abraham Herrera, long gone are the days when he was just another crew member on X-Men. Yeah, he's really worked his. I mean, look, some people are crafty. They know how to work their way up in industries, aren't they? And he's done well for himself, and people think he's the big I am. Rewind the Times. Mine is Blue Beetle. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. And I hope it's more than a family movie. And I hope there's actually action in it and it's fun. MSGT, I think Flash is the next to be excited for, if only for the mystery of it. Yes, it'll be. Look, let's see what they're going to do with it because they've changed it. So let's see what those changes are. So it is exciting to see where the DCU goes after the Flash movie. So yeah, I agree with that. MSGT, how much to bet that they are leaving Keaton alive in his universe to set up a Batman Beyond? Again, Zaslav knows money. Triple dip into Batman. Yeah, listen, Keaton is money. You know, people want to see Michael Keaton as Batman again. So you're not going to get rid of him. So he stays. He stays. So for sure. Now, what happens after that? I don't know. He stays, but he's probably not that happy about Batgirl. So he's definitely, but will he stay? Will he want to? Let's see what happens. Rewind the Times. Yes, I've heard Batman Beyond talk also. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah, if we could get a Batman Beyond, which we never would have done under Hamada, but a proper one. Apparently, they were going to do Batman Beyond with Batgirl. Apparently, that was the idea. Well, that's according to Grace Randolph. MSGT and Keaton clearly wants to be Batman again. Batman Beyond is a perfect spot, and it gives Warner Brothers Discovery a fourth universe. This is something Marvel cannot do. Yeah, they're not going to go that way, but DC can go multiverse. But again, they've got to try not to confuse people. But yeah, look, Batman Beyond would be awesome. I mean, Batman Beyond with Affleck or Keaton would be awesome. Abraham Herrera, Keaton would be great for Batman Beyond. He could be the mentor for Batfleck's son. Yeah, good point. Rewind the Times. Oh no, not with Batgirl. Give me Terry McGinnis. Bat Super, I hope the DCEU. MSGT, but Affleck is DCEU. This leaves Keaton out there somewhere. Well, originally, but when Flashpoint is done and Barry comes back to Earth 1, Batfleck was going to be stuck in an Elseworld, you know, on a screen in a post-credit scene begging for help. So it was actually going to be Batfleck out on his own. So I don't know if that's changed now. Don't know what's happened there. I rewind the times. Batman Beyond is a great cartoon. It certainly is. MSGT, Earth 1, the DCEU. Well, that's the assumption, isn't it? Let's see what they do. What they could do. This is what they could do in the Flash. They could, by the time Flashpoint finishes, like Earth 1 is the Elseworld, and it's kind of trapped somewhere, and that's how they create a new universe. That's something they could actually do that could work, and that would be interesting. MSG2, it changed because they replaced Keaton with Affleck in Aquaman 2. Well, Affleck is supposed to be, is in Aquaman 2 somehow. And Keaton, Jason Momoa has hinted both Batmen are in this movie. So, make of that what you will. MSGT, not a fan of Batman Beyond, my 8-year-old either, but there is definitely a fan base which translates to money. Abraham Herrera, what if Cavill's movie takes place in a different Earth? That could be a way to reboot. Yeah, that could be something. I would be more than happy if this isn't the Man of Steel Superman and they can actually have a free reign to do whatever they want with that Superman. Yeah, that's a good idea, though, Abraham. I like that idea. Rewind the times. Very exciting. Both Batman are in Aquaman 2. Now bring Bale back. That'd be cool. Listen, before I would have said, well, Bale wouldn't be interested, but he was in fucking Thor, Love and Thunder. So if you're willing to dumb yourself down for that, surely you're interested in returning in your iconic role in the DC universe. Abraham Herrera, yes, somewhere where 7-Eleven and Sears don't exist. Rewind the times. Bale does want to play Batman again. He said it. I hope he does. I hope that's true. MSGT December. We find out a lot more about what is going on, right? Suppose WBD announcements. I haven't heard anything about December. News to me. We could hear news and announcements at any time. But November the 1st, Gunn and Safran take charge. Then a couple of days later, there's an investors call. People are expecting big things from that. I wouldn't get too overexcited about that. Baz Super. Bale did say something recently about playing Batman again. Yeah, if Nolan asked. Nolan's not going to ask. Nolan's busy. So, yeah, so that's that. Yeah, he will only do Batman with Nolan. Rewind the times when doing interviews for Thor, he was asked, he said he'd love to play him again. Yeah, with Nolan. MSGT, Nolan won't do Batman again. Well, it will be a shock if he did. Look, anything's possible in this game, but who knows? MSGT, he's complete with Batman. Look, you never know. You never know. Who would have thought that Cavill would come back and have full creative control of Superman? You know? Abraham Herrera, Nolan wants nothing to do with WB, so he's not asking Bale nothing. Well, listen, WB is run by different people now, so I'm sure he'll be more than happy one day to work with WB again. It's a different studio now from the people that Nolan was upset with. Mainly, he was upset with Jason Keeler. He's not involved in WB anymore. WB is different now. Different. And he's not going to give a shit that they shelved Batgirl. MSGT so true. Until Zaslav, we were getting to Superman and a 70-year-old Keaton passing Nickel off to a CW looking Batgirl. Exactly. That was your Hamada. That was your Hamada. We were saved. We were saved. Oh my God. Rewind the times. Yeah, WB is so different. And if Henry can come back, Bale definitely could. Bat Super. I doubt we will get another Nolan Batman because it will sometime before Reeves is done with his Batman. Who knows what's going to happen there? Abraham Herrera, Nolan's Oppenheimer has me intrigued. It's not something I'm particularly interested in. I'm not interested in the Second World War. Yeah, not something. Rewind the times. Oppenheimer looks terrible. It doesn't look terrible. I'm just not interested in it. It's not something that, it doesn't gauge my interest. I'm sure it'll be a great movie. Nolan's a great writer-director. But yeah, I think maybe Christopher Nolan's best times are behind him. MSGT, wonder World War II is overdone anymore. Of course it is. They don't want us to forget about it. There you go. Bat Super, I want a sci-fi or a thriller from Nolan. Yeah, this is what I mean. I'm not interested in Oppenheimer. John, did you see the movie The Lighthouse? No, but I heard a lot of good things about it. MSGT, okay, so when is Blue Beetle expected? Next year, I think. I think May or June-ish, I think something like that. I'll rewind the times, August the 13th, that's right. So we have Shazam Fury of the Gods. We have the Flash movie in June. Then we have that in August, which is a bit too soon, interestingly enough. And then we've got Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom at the end of the year. But all that could change very quickly. Rolo, I want Sam Raimi to do one last Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. Rolo, Maguire. Yeah, everyone was getting excited about that after Spider-Man No Way Home. Doesn't seem to be a thing. But Marvel have gone really quiet on Spider-Man since that movie. That's interesting. Villager, hi Mick. Good evening to you, Villager. Rewind the times. 4 DC movies next year. Too good to be true, lol. Yeah, they'll probably move a couple. Villager, we were right. Cavill would be back as Superman. Yes, but it wouldn't have happened without Zaslav taking over. If we start with Hamada, there'd be no Cavill. MSGT, I don't know if they will move a couple. I think Zaslav wants to get the Hamada movies over with. Well, that's what I want to do. I don't want a couple of them being delayed, but they don't have much for 2024, do they? So if they wanted to fill 2024, they could do that. Villager, did you see back then DC fans would complain Zaslav and hated him for cancelling Batgirl? Now they're celebrating, lol. Yeah, I don't know why anyone would be upset about Batgirl being shelved. I don't see, I mean, the progressives are upset for obvious reasons. But if you're a Batgirl fan, you should be glad this was shelved. Rewind the times. You see Blue Beetle costume. Wow, amazing looking. Comic book accurate. Yes, everything looks really, really promising for that movie. But we will see. We will see. But I think Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, I don't know why, it's a film I'm really looking forward to. Villager, is Black Adam underperforming? Well, not for Black Adam. I think it's Villager, it's good box office, solid box office. It's not great for a comic book movie, but then he's not the biggest, most popular superhero ever. I think it's okay. It's not brilliant. Luckily, it's a Hamada movie. We're still getting more. It doesn't change anything. It may mean we don't get much more Black Adam in the future. We will see. But super. It is good that we are getting a DCEU for the mainstream audience, but also movies in their own universe like the Batman and Joker, where they can experiment a little more. I agree. Rolo, except Victoria Cold. Yeah, how could they get rid of the OG Cold? I think this film's going to have reshoots. I think Ted Cold will be put into it. MSGT, I think with Cavill clearly getting a priority in DC Studios standing up in November the 1st, they're going to be quick to get an internal roadmap underway. Yes, I think so. I think this has been in the planning and in discussion since the summer. Rewind the times. Carpax, the indestructible man, is the villain in Blue Beetle. Good choice. Villager, Black Adam could have been better. Some shots look so bad and the kid cannot act. If it was written better, the word of mouth would be better. I don't know about writing. I think the problem is with the film, as I said earlier, it's about a sandwich without enough meat in it. You feel like you needed more. I don't think it's a bad movie, but let's not forget, this is a movie starring The Rock. What did you really expect? Lawrence of Arabia, as I've said millions of times. John, I think Andrew Garfield and Toby will be in Secret Wars. Rewind the times. I want to see Zac Efron as Booster Gold, please. Well, why not? That would be cool. MSGT, Efron as Booster would be interesting. John, about Andrew and Toby, because Sony have control over Spider-Man, these things are very, very difficult to do. Villager, do you have intel on Cavill leaving The Witcher? I feel it's because the writing went to shit and he didn't want to be a part of that anymore. Look, we heard rumours about 4 days before he officially quit that there was a producer on the show who knew jack shit about the books and games. Cavill is very strict that iconic characters that are getting done into live action are treated with respect, as you hear from what he says about Superman. So that is part of the reason he left. Yeah, that's my intel. But also, he wants to focus on Superman, and he's got a lot of projects down the road, which will all be pushed back for Superman. Villager, Wakanda Forever will not make that much. Milestones are already making up bloated predictions. I think it's going to do well. Look, I'm a DC boy, as The Rock says. I don't want them to do well. Unfortunately, it will do okay. I can't see them not doing great, but who knows? Who knows? The reactions were interesting for Wakanda Forever. They were very mixed. John, did you see the movie Bullet Train? No, but I will do. MSGT. For Spider-Man fans, I think what is frustrating is that neither Marvel nor Sony has come out and given anybody a sense of what is going on. You know why? Because they don't know. They don't know. I don't think they actually know what to do next. I think they literally did Spider-Man No Way Home and didn't have a plan. And also, I think they don't even know if they can use Zendaya anymore. Like, that's an issue because it's interesting how they left the film. That says a lot for me. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a comic book accurate MJ. Zendaya, the actress. Well, I don't know. I don't think they know if they can use her. Rewind the time. Sony's Spider-Man world is terrible. It ruined Morbius so bad. Yeah, look, I don't want to talk about Morbius. I really don't. But Super, what if Holland doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore? Well, that could be part of the problem. Villager, I'm excited for Ant-Man 3. It looks good. I love Paul Rudd, but it won't surprise me if the writing is crap and Kang doesn't look that scary. Well, at least we got a good actor in Jonathan Majors playing Kang. That's important. Rewind the times low. It's Morbin time, stupid memes. Yep. Welcome to Gen Z fandom. But you know what? Most of the toxicity for Morbius is from MCU stands that don't like Sony having their own universe. In fact, Morbius isn't as bad as people make out. John, they are saying now that Doctor Doom will not appear in Black Panther 2. I didn't think he was ever going to appear in that anyway, so I don't know where that came from. Rewind the times. Yes, Jonathan Majors, awesome choice. He's such a good actor. Can't wait for Creed 3. He looks fucking intimidating in that film. Yeah, Feige knows what he's doing. I mean, not all the time. But he does get some good cast. Villager, Jared Leto flop. Haha, I'm glad he's getting clowned. That's not very nice, is it, Villager? Where's your compassion? MSGT, I like Jared Leto. Rewind the Times, I heard the post-credit scene in Black Panther 2 is the best ever possible or Doom. Apparently there's just one post-credit scene, and apparently I don't think it's going to be anything exciting. Villager, yeah, Mick, the leaks on the MCU leaked subreddit for Black Panther 2 say that Dr. Doom will be in the movie. Well, they're denying it. So they could be lying. We'll soon find out. MSGT, why is he getting clowned? Villager, I have no compassion for Jared Leto. I know dark intel about him, and he's a cult leader. Sorry, you mean you've heard rumours on the internet, right? Yeah. You're as bad as Peacemaker with all those rumours he gets off the internet about the superheroes. I wonder, yeah, James Gunn definitely hates fake rumours, and it's definitely something. MSGT, Villager, whatever, dude. But Super Mick, did you see that set photo from Madame Web? No. Yeah, that's going to be a flop, isn't it? Isn't it that nut job, Olivia, directing it? MSGT, ha 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 ha. But Super, I don't know. Villager, he's getting clowned because this movie flopped, and I know for a fact that behind the scenes he thought he would get an Oscar nom for it at least. I'll stop it, Villager. How many superhero movies get Oscar nods? There's no way he was ever getting that. Ridiculous, the guy has an Oscar. But Super, can I spoil what I saw in the set photo? Of what? John, I do enjoy the Venom movies. Yeah, I love the banter between Eddie and Venom. I think that's the whole point, isn't it? Villager. Okay, moving on. One thing about being on the internet, you need to move on very, very quickly because Bad Super, there was a character spotted in set photos for Madam Web. You could spoil it, I don't mind, because I'm not going to watch it. Rewind the Times, a Madam Web movie, Craven do intrigue me. MSGT, no, you insulted Lord Leto. James Gunn certainly doesn't like Jared Leto, apparently. Bat Super, it looked like Kane. Rewind the Times, the Madam Web movie does show another Spider-Man. Ooh. MSGT, I don't think there's a lot of hype at all for this Madam Web character. No. But if it's a good movie, then people will go. But there's not many good movies being made, and that's the problem. MSGT, is she post-1980s? Have no idea. Villager, wouldn't you Sony Marvel movies flop? No idea. But Super, yeah, Kane is that Spider-Man character. Rona, I don't know why Craven is getting a movie. No, nobody does. Why did Morbius get a movie? The only reason Sony make Marvel movies is so they don't lose the rights. That's it. So they're just putting out any old shit. Rewind the Times. I don't know either. Played by a good actor though. John, what are your thoughts on the Deathstroke character from Titans and Arrow? Well, the one from Titans I wasn't overly impressed with, but the one on Arrow, of course, was sensational and probably the best one in live action we've had so far. Villager, do you go on the DCEU League subreddit? People there are very dumb, no offence, but I've gotten hate for questioning WB and their PR antics. No, I don't go on there. Rolo, hey Mick, did you see She-Hulk? I didn't know. MSGT, I applaud Sony for trying to do something different. It's like an opposite Marvel Phase 1 individual villain movies until they assemble to fight a Spider-Man, just weak execution. But that's the problem. If the execution's no good and us, the consumer, are seeing that weak execution, it doesn't work. Bad Super, Sony should just go all in and give us all kinds of Spider-Man movies instead of villain movies. Villager, thoughts on Joseph Morgan as Brother Blood? He's a good actor. I don't know who Joseph Morgan is, unfortunately. What else has he done? Brother Blood. So not Liam Hemsworth. Oh, he's playing Brother Blood on Titans. I don't know the actor. Maybe I'd recognise him if I saw him. I don't really watch Titans that often. I watch it, I'm in and out of it. I may even be a couple of seasons away off you lot. Rewind the Times. MGT motto, good point. Rolo, Titans is god awful. I don't mind it, but yeah, there's some things I don't follow. You know, the TV stuff isn't great anymore. So MSGT, Morgan was like in nothing. He was in Immortals, so was Cavill. Even look what Cavill's done with his career. He's going to play Connor McLeod, the Highlander. He plays Superman. He was playing The Witcher. Villager. He was in Vampire Diaries, one of the most iconic shows of all time. Oh my God. You're entitled to your opinion. MSGT, Immortals was cool though. Never saw it. John, Red Hood was okay in Titans. He was. MSGT, what? I don't know. Bad Super, one day Cavill will play Bond. I'm sure of it. It's going to be interesting who they cast. I think it's going to be a progressive casting. I think it will definitely be a minority or a person of colour. And I think that's where they're going with Bond. I mean, look, Henry would be a great James Bond. He's got all the attributes. He proved that in Mission Impossible Fallout. Villager, Cavill is aging. I don't think so. Well, everyone's aging, my friend. It doesn't mean they don't get to play characters. He looks good. He looks amazing. 38 is hardly ancient, is it? Bassett, maybe they will do a Joanna Bond. Why not? Why not? I'm not going to watch it. Good luck to them. Villager, sorry, I just hate Cavill as a person, like him as Superman. But you don't know Cavill as a person. You don't know him. I think I can see, Villager, why you get into those arguments on subreddit. Hate, as Wonder Woman says, hate is useless. I'm feeling the love. John, what are your top 5 Bond movies? Well, that's an interesting one. Live and Let Die. No, this is in no order, by the way. Live and Let Die, Moonraker, definitely Casino Royale, even though I call that Bond Jimmy Bond because he's not part of the timeline. So those 3. Did I say Moonraker? I can't remember. View to a Kill, definitely. I think there's 4 there. Most of them would be Roger Moore films. I like GoldenEye. But yeah, there's loads of great Bond movies, isn't there? Bad Super, Cavill may be 39, but he looks younger. Look, it doesn't matter about his age. He looks amazing. He's fighting fit. And 39 isn't old. I mean, if you're 20, you may think 39 is old. But I'm sorry, he's not. Bad Super Villager, why do you not like him as a person? He doesn't even know him as a person. How can you hate someone you don't know? Although people on the internet do it all the time, don't they? So, as we've already seen. It's a weird generation. That's all I'm going to say. It's a very weird generation raised on the internet with no personal communications. And, you know, when they're asked to go to war, this is going to be the problem because they can't handle it. They're psychologically not strong. Gen Z is the end. It's the end of our civilization because they've been mollycoddled. Villager, I just follow around the Hollywood gossip circles. I've heard a lot. It's called gossip for a reason. God, you should be in Coronation Street or EastEnders as the local gossip. You never guess what she said the other day. Oh, my word. John, great to have the lives back, Mick. Glad you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it as well. Bad Super, I saw someone, they did not like Nolan as a human being because he made Tenet. I still have not recovered from seeing such an insane comment. Yeah, this is the internet. People can say crap. People can say crap, and it's hilarious. It really is. Some of the stuff you see, the hatred people have for others. It's there used to be this one guy who used to follow me years ago on Facebook, and he really unreservedly hated Christopher Nolan. He hated his Batman because it wasn't comic book accurate, and all he used to do on Facebook was slag off Christopher Nolan 24/7. That's all he used to talk about. It was his mission in life. And wherever I used to go on the internet, he'd find me and tell me how much he hated Christopher Nolan. It was insane. Bad Super Villager, in other words, you do not know anything. No. Look, here's the thing. The entertainment industry is a corrupt industry. So, but we don't care about what kind of human beings they're like. Do they entertain us? Are they talented? Yes. Do we like their movies? Yes. That concern us. Why are we so concerned that others are not good people? Are you? Are you a good person, first of all? Focus on yourself before you focus on others. You're not perfect. You're flawed. Everyone's flawed. So why are you focusing on other people's flaws? That's the question I would ask. Villager, no, I know. Obviously, I cannot prove it, but that's just how it goes. NDAs everywhere. You can't prove it, then you can't prove it's true. And it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what you've heard. Rewind the times. Mick, I've got to head out. Love talking DC with you. God bless and take care, brother. Thank you very much. Rewind the times. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the comments. Villager, change of subject. Right, we've been here for over 2 hours now. I'm going to call it a day. God knows what time it is. Bad Super Villager, okay, sure. MSGT, that's the irony. On one hand, people tell celebrities to keep their politics to themselves. On the other hand, people want to chastise celebrities for their personal. Villager, do you think there will be a Black Adam versus Shazam movie, and will it include Cavill? I think there's definitely got... Look, the thing is, we look at the box office for Black Adam. The Shazam Fury of the Gods box office isn't going to be any better. People ain't rushing to see Shazam and Black Adam movies. That's obvious. So are they going to continue with this universe? Or are they going to say, fuck this shit? Let's just go to another Earth and start from scratch. I have no idea. If they continue with this franchise, you would think they would cross them over. I think it's futile to continue the DCEU, but there you go. So if they stick with this, and we don't know what they're planning, of course, but in terms of box office, Shazam and Black Adam getting together, fighting, it will excite DC fans. But in general, I don't think it brings $1 billion movie. And that's what they want. Because the box office for Black Adam isn't great. Right, I'm going to read one more comment before I go. Sorry about that. I hope everyone's enjoyed the live chat. I'm actually full of energy, but I better go to bed. MSGT, if they reboot, they have to wait a couple of years and completely recast it all. Well, how do you know they haven't started that process? How do you know some of the actors already part of the DCEU won't join the new universe? There's lots of things. There's lots of things that can happen. Villager, I'm sad to say that I think the DCEU is finished. Well, it was finished before it started, really, wasn't it? Some really good films in it that I've really enjoyed, but as a franchise, it doesn't work, and that's a shame. But that doesn't take away the enjoyment I've had from many DCEU films. All right, one more comment. MSGT laters, bro. Thank you for being part of the chat, MSGT. It's been great to talk to you all. I've really enjoyed it. Rolo, good night, Mick. Good night, Rolo. So, right, this has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in the next video. That's super. I'm confused by the DCEU going forward. It will be easier just to scrap it all. That's the best comment of the evening. It should be all scrapped all. Because until they do, and they make it relatable, and it's something that people want to see desperately, then we're not going to get any further. But you're right. Bat Super, keep Cavill though. Yeah, clearly they're keeping Cavill anyway. Bat Super, keep. Right, bye-bye everyone. Until we see each other again. Goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. Thank you everyone who took part on tonight's live chat. I'll see you tomorrow with my pre-recorded video as per usual. And I'll be back tomorrow evening. Same bat place, same black channel, live. Until then, goodbye. See you later. Thank you.